Aloha, I'm Patty Lee.
And I'm Joe Abella.
And up next, highlights from 2025, a year in review. Hawaii Senator Brian Schatz sharply criticized Trump's flip-flop on SNAP food assistance affecting 42 million people, including 160,000 in Hawaii. First, he cut off the funding. Then he said recipients would only get half. Then he said he will simply ignore the court order and people will get nothing. In a scathing rebuke, Schatz said there's enough money for a golden toilet, $40 billion for a right-wing government in Argentina, and a luxury plane for Homeland Security. There's a lot of wealth sloshing around the public and private sector, he said, but they say there is not enough money to feed starving children. Governor Green wants to make a deal with the Army before the Army takes Hawaii lands by force. Military leases are expiring on Oahu and the Big Island, and the governor wants to renew the leases in exchange for $10 billion worth of investments from the federal government. On the top of his list is cleanup of training grounds littered with ammunition and ordnance, and the eradication of 88,000 toxic cesspools.
It looks like a Pandora's box of harmful beetles are on their way to paradise. First it was the coconut rhinoceros beetle, and now the Queensland longhorn beetle is spreading in Hawaii. First detected in Puna on the Big Island, it is now advancing north along the Hamakua coast and attacking cacao, ulu, kukui, avocado, and citrus trees, raising alarm among farmers and ecologists. Because of the ongoing federal shutdown, critical biocontrol work has stalled, leaving the state with fewer tools to stop the beetle from spreading statewide to islands like Maui.
Madame Pele tops the news today after a spectacular 5-hour display of twin 1,000-foot fountains of molten rock and even a volcano on Saturday. Check out these images posted on Facebook by Maui photographer Alyssa Lee. But on Sunday, the Senate voted to reopen the government until the end of January and restore the on-again and off-again SNAP benefits. Healthcare benefits are not included in the deal as 8 centrist Democrats caved to side with Republicans who continue to prioritize profits for the wealthy over healthcare for millions of Americans. Hawaii Senator Schatz and Hirono stuck up for us and voted no to try and preserve the Affordable Care Act. Richard T. Bisson Jr. wants to keep his job. He announced his campaign for re-election as mayor of Maui County, pledging continued focus on rebuilding, community collaboration, and long-term resilience. He cited progress on housing projects and disaster recovery, including more than 780 affordable workforce homes and expedited permits for the Lahaina burn zone. Despite praise for better communications and staffing improvements, his critics point to challenges such as permitting delays and high job vacancy rates in county departments. If you've been seeing a lot of military aircraft lately, you have not been hallucinating. A large-scale military exercise began November 3rd and will run through November 17th and includes training on Maui at Pu'unene National Guard Readiness Center as well as Kahului Airport. You may not believe it, but Hawaii is the 5th skinniest state, or the 5th least obese, I should say, according to Wallet Hub. Only California, Massachusetts, Utah, and Colorado scored higher. Hawaii ranked number 47 for obese adults and 50 for overweight kids. This means that Hawaii residents are healthier, more active, and make better food choices.
UH astronomers looking through telescopes in Chile captured one of the rarest and most spectacular events in the universe, a real-time massive supernova explosion documenting the death of a star, a red supergiant 500 times bigger and 12 to 15 times heavier than the sun. The star is 22 million light years away in the constellation of Hydra, or the water snake. A new UH study shows that people with disabilities before and after the fires are facing deeper and longer lasting hardships than other people in Lahaina because recovery efforts do not include them. There is weak progress in housing, employment, and health. Rent has skyrocketed to 80% of income and more than half live in poverty. Mental health is in decline and healthcare is harder to find. Even basic needs like transportation and spiritual support are lacking, and access to formal aid programs is uneven. County crews conducting wildfire risk reduction efforts in central Maui removed a large homeless encampment and in the course of those sweeps recovered a stolen truck, multiple firearms, and numerous electrical hazards. Officials say the actions were driven by public safety and fire risk concern. Advocates argue better long-term housing solutions are still needed for displaced residents, houseless people. Same old story. Many people's drug of choice is caffeine, and Modern Luxury Publication has highlighted standout coffee destinations across Hawaii and ranked the top 10, including Grandma's Coffee House in Kula and Hawaiian Village Coffee in Kahana. But we have our own coffee stand right here outside the Akakū studios at 333 Dairy Road. It's called Kapwa Coffee and offers an array of Filipino coffee flavors found nowhere else.
Oh my God, look at all the colors. Look at the colors. Ooh, you could be on Lifetime TV. The colors. The colors. Ooh, the colors. A cup of coffee.
So I top it off with whipped cream.
Wow. Wow. What is this drink? What are these drinks again? Tell me.
Matcha latte.
Matcha latte.
So it's just like matcha with milk.
Wow.
And you do this.
It's fantastic. So what do you think is going to happen with the Big Island coffee shortages? Yeah.
You know what? Hawaii people always find a way.
Hawaii people will find a way?
Hawaii people will find a way.
Yeah.
You know what? We're just going to go in and pick our own coffee. Like pick your own strawberries, pick your own blueberries.
Yeah, we'll pick our own coffee.
Pick our own coffee. We'll support our local businesses.
And we're going to keep supporting our local Hawaii coffee makers.
Exactly.
That's right. And Kapwa Coffee Bar, ladies and gentlemen, right here at 333 Dairy Road. Akakū.
A duck on Maui has come down with highly pathogenic avian flu. The migratory Koloa mapu was found along the Wailea shoreline and tested positive for the disease that can be transmitted to humans. The parking lot at Lower Beach Park in Paia has needed repair for years, with potholes the size of craters on the moon. Maui Parks and Recreation is finally getting around to it and is constructing a temporary parking area west of the existing lot. The park will remain open, but construction on the main lot starts on January 4th and will last through the summer. Now, if they could only do something about the basketball court. Think before you drink. Trace amounts of selenium were detected in treated drinking water from the Maui County Department of Water Supply System serving the Lahaina Napili area. But it won't hurt you, according to officials. The levels are far below the maximum contaminant limits and are not considered a health risk. The recovery of lahaina has a long way to go, but has reached a significant milestone. The County of Maui has completed rebuilding its 100th structure in wildfire-affected zones. Homes and buildings destroyed in the 2023 fires are now ready for occupancy. The milestone includes 96 rebuilt in Lahaina as well as 4 in Kula. There are nearly 300 homes currently under construction and hundreds more in the process. Tourism on Maui is down 1.1% compared to October of last year, but visitors are spending more. There has been a 7.6% increase in the number of visitors if you factor in all of 2025, and spending for the first 10 months has hit nearly $4.8 billion, up 12% compared to the same period in 2024. The restored Hale Hawaii at Kapanibai Heritage Gardens in Iao Valley reopened with a blessing ceremony on December 2nd. The Hale was originally destroyed by fire in 2003, but has now been restored with certified Hawaiian Hale building standards, honoring cultural practices. Take a look at it now.
We're here today at Kapanibai Heritage Gardens. This is a very important place to our community. One portion that we're particularly concerned with and care for is this Wahi Hawaii. From, I want to say a few years ago, Kekulau became very active with taking care of Kapanibai Park, being located just the next ili over in Maniania. So just above where the Hawaii Nature Center used to be is where Kekulau Hawaiian Immersion Education happens. So we're very fortunate, very blessed, and really honored to be here, to have our keiki not only serve and steward these lands, but to be here for the groundbreaking of this new hale. I think it was 2 years ago. And now at the completion of this hale, to be here for the blessing of the hale. What you see here is the third iteration of the hale here. This specifically is called a halau. A halau is a open walled structure. A hale would be a closed one. So the first hale had stone halfway up and then it was completely enclosed. That hale burned down. The second hale that they had built, that was the second hale that was built, fell down. And this is the third iteration of the hale.
It takes a village to build a hale. I don't care if you're a Kamehameha, Superman, or what, it takes a whole village. And that's what we had building here. Right? Pule? And it was fun, and it was an honor for me to build it. Because I built the first one and the second one.
It's important to us to have this hale here representing us and the Native Hawaiian community alongside the missionary and the Portuguese, Japanese, Chinese, Korean, that we're all part of Maui. But for a long time, the Hale Hawaii was maybe a representative of how our community, the Native Hawaiian community, was regarded or treated. It's just kind of burnt down or on the ground. And so we appreciated the county giving us an opportunity to voice that we would be in support and be here to help build it back up. And not only that, but to continue to be here to take care of this place and this space. Yeah.
I'm very grateful to the mayor, to the council, to the local government for supporting the building of this Halau Hawaii, as equally as I am grateful to Kekulau Pi'ilani for continuing to come and stand up for this space and take care. Malama Aina, Aloha Aina, they have taken on the kuleana for this valley. And we should be very grateful because what everyone loves about this valley, what they fondly recall and remember, is what they hope to continue to perpetuate and preserve here. So it is important. Kumu has given us a task, Kumu Kapona'i. The task was to watch your character and your behavior when you come in these spaces, when you come into our sacred valley.
They say it was a miracle, and maybe it was. The firestorm that erased nearly every structure facing the ocean in historic Lahaina town left a craftsman plantation-style dwelling with a steel roof along the shoreline completely unscathed. Built in 1925, the Miracle House has been placed on the National Register of Historic Places for its architectural significance and contribution to Lahaina's history. The state of Hawaii is suing the social media giant TikTok for addicting our keiki to the platform, harming their mental health, and exploiting children for economic gain. Governor Josh Green said, as leaders, it is our responsibility to protect our youth from platforms that prioritize profit over health. According to Attorney General Ann Lopez, the goal of the lawsuit is to make TikTok adopt safety guidelines and stop using harmful, misleading, or addictive features. Maui Emergency Management Agency has finished a wildfire risk reduction project, clearing about 42 acres off Hanoa-Pi'ilani Highway at Ukumehame, removing hazardous fuels and debris from along the road to Lahaina. The effort cleaned up 176 tons of solid waste, over 1,000 tires, 123 vehicles, as well as appliances, batteries, scrap metal, and other fire hazard material. MEMA is now developing a maintenance plan for the area, and the State Forestry Agency plans a wetland restoration project there in summer 2026 to further protect and restore the site. Sunday, December 7th is Pearl Harbor Day, the day that will live in infamy, marking the 84th anniversary of the sneak attack on Pearl Harbor that launched the United States into a Second World War against Germany and the Empire of Japan. Two female welders, famously dubbed as Rosie the Riveters, are in Honolulu as we speak to commemorate the event. Both were early champions of women's rights, like 99-year-old Jean Gibson, who said, "Welding is very much like sewing." Flags will be lowered to half-staff this Sunday nationwide as a remembrance. Maui police have finally caught the haiku home invader and peeping Tom, who has been breaking into residences since late July, terrifying the town. They're not releasing his name, but the late-night peeper in a ski mask, dressed from head to toe in black, sneaks into bedrooms and sticks his hands under bed covers while people are sleeping. He's being called the haiku creeper. He's a creep, all right, and is under arrest, for now at least.
The Hawaii Department of Commerce and Consumer Affairs has told Akakū and its sister public access stations that it will tell Spectrum to only fund Akakū until June of 2026, pending federal and state funding uncertainties. According to Akakū, Spectrum has already collected the money from ratepayers, and by holding up the full annual payment, the state will be allowing Spectrum to collect interest on millions of dollars of your public access operating funds that rightfully should be allocated to community television stations. Here is an expert from a public hearing many of you attended a year ago.
Call it the voices of heaven, ocean, land that each one of us bring to Akakū and tell them about the treasures that we have in Molokini, Ekaholawi, Molokai, Lanai. We are the family of Maui Nui Okama. These are the voices here. You cannot let us not have a voice with Akakū. And they've been doing it over 30 years. And now you guys tell us, oh, we're going to give one another guy this thing. We don't need to give one another guy. We're doing well. Why you want to fix something? Then if my canoe no broken, I don't fix them. And Akakū bring that message to everybody. I'm here to speak in behalf of Akakū. And I'm not here in respect of anything else but Akakū. Akakū has been our ohana since then. Our Akakū is going to be our ohana now, and our Akakū will be our ohana in the future. In the live Akakū, the voice of us.
We would be taking something essential away from Maui that embodies the spirit of aloha that we represent as a community. Maui is Maui is one of the only places left in the world, really, in America, where you can go and get this kind of real community access. Like right now, people are tuning in to us somewhere at their home, and they're hearing the voice of real Mauians.
Akakū provides many services. Amongst them is the best campaign election coverage in the state. There's nowhere where you can follow the campaign coverage like you can on Akakū.
I've really enjoyed following the news from Akakū for so many reasons. For the simple reason, basically, that it shares the community, shows the unity of the community throughout the whole island. We need to have the ability to express our opinions on a free platform.
Especially when you look at the fact that it provides stability and continuity at a time where everything has been shredded and volatile right now. And what happens is people sensationalize and twist things. And after the fire, we had all of these content creators driven by commercial needs putting out so much misinformation, it was ridiculous. Akakū, on the other hand, strove to provide clear content and communication for the community.
Last week, Jess Kisa Lee, a 43-year-old Kula man, was sentenced to 40 months in jail. Lee set off an IED, an improvised explosive device, in Kula in August of last year and placed multiple IEDs in various locations. The case was investigated by the MPD, FBI, and Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives.
The suspect in the haiku home invasion case has been identified by MPD. German Manuel Zaborin is a 46-year-old Argentinian man who, in addition to sexual assault charges, is now facing federal charges for possession of cocaine and fentanyl with intent to distribute. A motion has been filed to have him detained without bail as a danger to the community. Hawaii Department of Health was notified of a second detection of measles virus in wastewater collected November 30th from West Maui. State health officials say that while no cases of measles have been confirmed on Maui or anywhere else in the state, it is out there and officials are advising medical providers to remain on high alert. Meanwhile, hundreds of people have been quarantined in South Carolina in the biggest outbreak since the disease was declared eliminated in the United States more than 2 decades ago.
Bill 9, which would phase out the decades-long exemption for transient vacation rentals in apartment districts, passed the council on final reading today, 5-3, to some audience applause. Supporters cited freeing up housing and more water. The opposition said they didn't think the bill would accomplish its goals and would lead to economic hardships. Following this historic passage, a resolution proposing creating hotel districts that mirror existing apartment zones will be taken up at the council's regular meeting this Friday. The goal would be to allow continued TVR use after the phase-out, where appropriate, targeting about 4,500 units. A California federal judge dismissed a civil lawsuit that had named Maui Police Chief John Pelletier, Sean Diddy Combs, and other high-profile figures in allegations of kidnapping, assault, and abuse. The original attorneys withdrew from the case, and plaintiffs were unable to find new counsel. Evidence showed that the case was bogus and that many defendants couldn't have been involved. An angry Maui police chief, John Pelletier, was all over Honolulu media last night demanding an apology from Mayor Bisson after a spurious lawsuit implicating the chief in a criminal enterprise with Sean Diddy Combs was dismissed, clearing his name. When the lawsuit first emerged, Bisson recommended that the police commission place Pelletier on leave, pending an investigation. The police commission denied the request. It is clear that Pelletier is still pretty sore because back then, when he asked the mayor if he would apologize if he was wrong, he quoted the mayor saying at the time, "I am the mayor. I apologize to no one." In a statement issued Wednesday, Mayor Bisson applauded the lawsuit's dismissal and said, "I extend my aloha and compassion to Chief Pelletier and his ohana, who have endured a prolonged and difficult process." The U.S. Coast Guard rescued 2 men Wednesday afternoon from a 42-foot commercial fishing vessel when it began taking on water about 2 miles south of Molokai. The mayday was received at 1:50 p.m. Both men abandoned ship into a life raft where they activated their radio beacon. An MH-65 Dolphin helicopter assisted by the Coast Guard and Maui County Fire Department located the mariners and transported them to Kapolei. Sail Maui is among 4 marine businesses to resume commercial operations at Lahaina Small Boat Harbor this week after being shut down by the 2023 wildfires. The phased reopening allows daytime boat tours and activities as harbor infrastructure is gradually restored. However, the community group Ho'omakaukau says that community voices haven't been fully considered and that it's too soon to reopen the harbor to visitors. Insurance companies are once again blocking Maui wildfire survivors from receiving settlement payments before year's end. What this does is further delay a $4 billion settlement, forcing families to wait, and wait, while insurance companies and lawyers fight over their share. Judge Peter Cahill, who has repeatedly pushed for timely compensation and urged insurers to stop delaying the process, expressed concern about the prolonged wait and the hardship it causes survivors trying to rebuild. It is no longer a secret that sometimes AI does better legal work for free than a high-priced lawyer. But it makes mistakes, too. And there are even lawyers who submit briefs entirely made up by AI, complete with fake citations. The Hawaii Supreme Court is reportedly considering a rule requiring lawyers to tell the court when they use AI and verify that they've confirmed material in the document isn't fake. Public and community media is under attack everywhere in America. And the Maui County Council gave Akakū a Christmas present on Friday, unanimously passing a resolution to send to the Hawaii State Legislature and the governor, urging the legislature to ensure the long-term sustainability and funding of public, educational, and governmental access media in Hawaii. Council member Tamara Paulton, who introduced the measure, stated that recent state funding cuts and short-term agreements put these community services at risk, and that this action expresses a commitment to community voices, local stories, and open government. Councilmember Kiani Rollins Fernandez added that it is the responsibility of the government to force corporations to give back to our community for profiting from the use of public infrastructure. They won't do it out of the kindness of their hearts, she said.
Since we have had reports of the North Pole melting due to climate change, who knows what old St. Nick is up to? This footage was sent in today from the United Arab Emirates, with Santa supposedly helping a plane load of presents destined for Washington, D.C. take off.
Well, there you have it for the TMDR 2025 Year in Review. But before we go, I'd like to sign off with a tribute to a good friend.
The most important thing in life, as we know, is get as many awards as possible. And so this is just, I have, I think now, 247.
Inaugural 2003 Maui Film Festival Lights, Camera, Passion Award for your heartfelt professional commitment to making films that matter and your heartfelt personal commitment to working for social justice and the triumph of the human spirit.
This is a
up to Rock Hudson, he'd be clear. And Doris Day, where did she go? She disappeared. They shot her through things like this.
Walk there now.